Hey, Joey, welcome. Just to start off, why DC and why the Nationals? What stood out to you and kind of what appealed to you about this team?
I think, like for us, it was kind of a good fit just in terms of being able to go somewhere and get to play and get a good opportunity to get at bats and move around the field, and also I really like that team too. It's always a fun group of guys to play against, and it's always challenging a challenging game. So when you play that team, so yeah, I'm very excited about that, and obviously the opportunity is probably the biggest thing for me where I'm at in my career. It's going to get at bats and get back to where I can be, and I'm just really lucky. DC is giving me that opportunity, and I'm very excited about it.
And then I know you were with the Rangers, and then you went to the Yankees, then the Dodgers, and then the Twins. What has the past couple of years been like for you? Although if you hear my dog barking in the background, I promise that's not me. But what have the past couple of years been like for you? Traveling a lot in different places and trying out different teams. What has that experience been like for you, and what has that taught you about you, if anything?
Jeez, man, it's funny because I remember 4 years ago sitting in Texas playing for the Rangers, thinking this is the only team I'm ever going to play for in my career, and I'm so lucky. And then, man, I blink and now I've been on 5 teams and moved around a lot. And I kind of look at it as it's a blessing too, because I get to meet a lot of great people now, and there's a lot of people that if I did stay on one team my whole career, I wouldn't have got to meet. And so I'm very grateful for that. Obviously, it is tough to be moving so much and meeting so many people, but I'm it's nice because it's a cool opportunity to, like I said, I get to meet people and live in places that you never would before. So I don't mind it. I kind of got used to it now. The first few teams it was a little weird, but I'm kind of used to it.
Brandy Flores, DC News Now.
Hi, Joey. Welcome to DC. Hope you're having a great day over there. And when you were with the Twins last year, the Nats came and visited you guys. I was wondering if there was any moment during that series that really stuck out to you and that ultimately helped lead to your decision to want to play with that group of guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I remember playing against them when they were here or when they were in Minnesota. I remember it was like 20 degrees. It was snowing most of the game, so it was a tough series. But I just appreciated the way that team, especially being a young team, kind of went out there and they played hard. Didn't matter what the weather was and whatnot, and just a very competitive team. So actually, that series, I hit a home run off Trevor Williams, and he just messaged me, or yeah, I think it was that Trevor Williams, but he messaged me that video and said happy to have you and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just always a good playing against the Nationals was just. You can tell they play competitively, and they play the game hard, and that's how I play. So I really enjoy that.
And then have you had any conversations yet with your new skipper, Davey Martinez? What has he kind of told you? I mean, obviously welcome, I'm sure, but has he told you mainly what kind of role you might be stepping into, obviously being a lead veteran in the league?
Yeah, I think so. I talked to him on Saturday and got to talk to the hitting coaches, and obviously it's been whirlwind because you're meeting a lot of new people. But yeah, I think the plan is for me to play some outfield, also play a little first base, and kind of just help out where I need to help out. I do take pride in being able to move around the field and whenever play any position essentially. So that's kind of what I told him is, hey, wherever you need me to play, I can play. That's not a big deal. I'm pretty versatile. So yeah, it's exciting. I've heard nothing but great things about him too. Players love him. Seems like media loves him, and everybody that meets him loves him. So very excited to get around him and kind of see what kind of energy he has. And it's always fun. I've seen him get thrown out a few times. Pretty entertaining. So I always love that.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Welcome to DC, Joey. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mark Zuckerman, MastinSports.com.
Hey, Joey. Probably since you came into the league, I think most people around the sport kind of have an idea of what you're bringing to the table offensively, kind of what your game is. But I'm curious, like, what is important to you in that regard? Like, what stats do you look at the most, and like, what says to you that you've had a good season offensively?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we all kind of know in this day and age, there's a lot of different numbers that you can look to and analytically point to. For me, obviously, I am a slugger. I want to be more than that. I don't. It's not. I don't really like being known as just like some strikeout home run hitter guy. Obviously, it's not really my plan when I was growing up to be considered like this 3 true outcome guy. But it's just kind of the way I've always swung and just kind of the player I was. But for me, I want to get back to like these putting the ball in play more. I thought last year I struck out too much. And you got to put the ball in play to make things happen too. So I think last year was tough with that. But for me, to answer your question, OPS, isolated slugging, I don't look at average because I want to throw up if I do. So I got to relax on that one. But for me, I'm a walk guy. That's my singles a lot of times is getting on base, drawing walks, maybe having an 8-pitch at bat. So for me, it's on base, OPS, things like that. Obviously, I would like the average to go up. It's not like I'm against hitting higher average, but it's a little hard. So, but yeah, it's more of those stats for me, more of the stats for like a slugger.
Yeah. You mentioned putting the ball in play more. The Nats have been one of the better teams in baseball at that. In recent years, they've kind of struggled on the power department, which I know they're happy to have you for. How do you work on putting the ball in play more without kind of losing your identity and losing the power stroke that you do have?
Yeah, and that's the big, the big what if is there has been times in the past where I did try to change my swing and slow it down and maybe not swing as hard or as aggressively. And it actually kind of backfires and goes the other way because then you kind of lose a feel for who you are. And so for me, I've had success in this league kind of doing it this way, but I'm not stubborn enough to think, this is how I have to hit. This is what I do. Don't tell me what to do. I'm very open to listening to anything, coaches tell me and whatnot. But yeah, I think if you try to change too much, I thought in New York, I tried to get putting the ball in play too much and ended up striking out even more. And also power went down and slugging went down. So it is that fine line of, hey, I got to get my swings off, but I also do got to make sure I'm putting the ball in play enough. I'm not just up there swinging and missing.
Thank you.
Jessica Camerato, Nationals.com.
Joey, welcome. When you mentioned that you'd be playing some outfield and some first base, what would you say you bring to both of those positions?
Yeah, I think outfield wise, I love playing outfield. It's obviously a position I've won a couple gold gloves at. I like being able to bring value with my range and my arm out there. I like to just be athletic, but I also love first base as well. I think I came up as a third baseman. I think a lot of people forget I never played outfield until 2019. I never was an outfielder my whole life. I played infield, so I'm very comfortable at first base. And I thought I was able to do pretty well over there this year with Minnesota. But for me, I think having a big first baseman that can pick, make plays for you where you don't have to worry about maybe I throw a ball bad. I want to have a first baseman there that I can trust. So that's what I try to bring at first base for our guys. And, I'm excited about that. I like being able to play outfield and infield. Growing up, that really wasn't a thing, but nowadays it's starting to be a thing again where you got to bring that versatility. So I work really hard at being able to do both at a high level.
Yeah, I think I can see some awards glistening in the background. Behind you, your lighting was good. Yeah, they look nice. So with the young
lights
team,
right on top of it, I had to turn them on just in case.
I got it. With the what's the most important thing that you want to impart on some of your new younger teammates at any position that you may be playing?
Yeah, I think, well, for me, it kind of reminds me of the situation we were in with the Rangers a little bit ago, where we had a lot of young talent and some veterans there. And for me, I always loved having young guys around because I like them to watch me and how I run, how I play, maybe not necessarily hit whatever, but just the way you go about your business. And I think for young guys, I had Adrian Beltre, who just got into the Hall of Fame. Congrats to that. Prince Fielder, Josh Hamilton. Like I had some very, very good leaders, and I learned a lot from those guys. And I feel like I can translate that into helping these young guys that I'm going to have now. I love playing with young guys. They're always energetic and they just want to play and have fun. And so for me, I just want to bring that to the table of, hey, this is how you work. This is what it takes to be in the big leagues for 6, 7, 8 years sometimes, and I feel like I have a career still ahead of me, but I definitely want to help those guys out. And just play the game hard. I always run hard. I always try to respect the game, and that's just something I try to have our young guys do as well.
Scott Abraham, ABC7.
Hey, Joey, welcome to DC. Glad to have you part of the club. You mentioned about moving from team to team over the last couple of years. Is there a sense of urgency to kind of make this work of not just 1 year, maybe 2, 3, 4 years staying here in DC? Is there kind of that sense of urgency of your part to kind of make a second home like you had in Texas, maybe here in DC?
Yeah, I think that's always the goal. Every team, you're with, you want to make that your home. And so for me, obviously, I would love that. I'm obviously open to that. I think, we start with, we go day by day and just see how things go. But obviously, that would be amazing. I actually was just out there Friday, flew in to get a physical, and I never really been to DC a lot. Only played there one time in my whole career. Like, beautiful city, man. I was just like blown away, like how awesome it was. And yeah, obviously it would be great to make that my home one day, but there's things right now that we're focused on of short term, and then we'll see where that goes from there. But obviously tremendously excited to be in DC.
Kind of the pieces already in place with this club. What excites you kind of specifically about the guys, the positions, maybe the starting rotation, the bullpen specifically? What kind of intrigues you about this group of young ball players? Yeah,
I think a lot of, when you look at the roster and just from playing against them a little bit last year, it's like a lot of young, very athletic talent. And it's always fun to be around guys like that. So I'm just excited to kind of be around, like you said, a young group of guys with energy, with almost don't really know what's in front of them yet. And it's guys like that where they bring that energy every day in the clubhouse. And it's always fun to be around guys like that. So it seems like that club is like that. And from the people who have reached out to me, I mean, everybody has been tremendously nice. And like I said, I can't wait to get started, but I think that young aspect is very appealing because it's just fun. It's just a little more fun when you're playing around guys like that, I think.
Mark Zuckerman again, MassSports.com.
Hey, it's been a slow offseason across baseball. Free agents everywhere are still waiting to sign. What was that process like for you? And did it reach a point at all that you started to get frustrated and think, hey, I'm a few weeks away from camps opening and I don't know where I'm going to be yet?
Yeah, I think I never got frustrated. I understood that there was a pecking order as well, and there's a process to things. Usually the big guys are going to go out first, and you kind of just have to wait and see where chips fall. But yeah, obviously it's weird to just sit and kind of wait, but you stay busy. I'm working out and hitting, and I really tried not to get impatient and try to just see the whole process through. If I sign first day off season or last day off season, I'm still in the same place. And so for me, there was no urgency or anything. But obviously there is like a little bit where you're like, oh man, hopefully I get to play again next year. And this is getting a little close now, but I didn't really doubt that I wouldn't be able to find anything. So like I said, I couldn't be happier where I ended up. Like, all honesty, like it's such a great situation, and I'm very grateful.
And just beyond what you had seen yourself and figured out about the Nats, was there anybody that talked to you or like anything that you relied on to help you get a sense of, okay, this is a team that I think I want to go to?
Yeah, I think, obviously when you're talking with your agent and you kind of just, hey, how's their front office? How's their guys that you have there? And everybody just said everything was glowingly, great reviews on everybody. So I haven't heard one bad thing. Obviously, it's when you sign, I know they're not going to tell anything bad, but I can't wait to be around those guys. And like I said, I haven't got to play the Nationals a lot, so I don't really know much about DC or even the coaches there and whatnot. So you kind of just have to go from what you hear. But like I said, everything I've heard has been tremendous. And like I said, them reaching out. We've been talking every day. So now the hitting coaches, Chris Johnson, Darnell Coles, and just building a relationship. And they're just really easygoing guys. And it's always nice to have that kind of chemistry around.
Andrew Golden, Washington Post.
Hey, you mentioned obviously not winning the three pretty true outcome guy. I want to change things around. What are some of the things you've been working on this off season to kind of combat that and turn that around? What are some things you've been working on?
Yeah, so we made a pretty decent amount of adjustments with my swing. I been hitting with Matt Holliday up in Oklahoma State. So I'm in Dallas, so it's a 4-hour drive, so I get to go up there and hit with him. But a lot of it is direction, and I think a lot of it on my best years, I was really working the whole field more, and I was using the middle of the field more. And it seemed like last year I started off that way and maybe fell into some bad habits or whatnot, and I started to pull the ball a little more and get to, obviously just pull happy. And that's never a good thing when you're just kind of locked into one side of the field. So it's about just getting my direction back. I narrow up a little bit, kind of hit how I used to maybe a few years ago. But yeah, just those small little adjustments like that, and just being able to use the whole field. And I feel very good with where I'm at right now. So I'm very excited to get out there and kind of see what it looks like and see how it plays.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the pulling. I think you pulled it like 56% of the time last year. I guess when that's happening in the moment, like are you aware of that, or is it something that when you go back and look at the offseason, then you process that, or did you know it was happening as you were doing it? If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely know when it's going on. It's tough to fix. I think a lot of times people think you can just go in the cage and everything's fixed, and it's when you're doing something every day, you kind of get into a rhythm, you get into a habit, and it's hard to break that habit sometimes. So for me, I thought last year I was trying so much stuff, and I really wanted to start using the whole field, but sometimes it takes an off season to reset and get back to where you need to go. So for me, that's kind of where I'm at now. But I definitely knew what was going on. I definitely knew I was striking out way too much. I don't like to look exactly how much I am until maybe after the season, but yeah, it's something that you're always aware of. It's our life, so it means everything to us, man. So we're very, very aware of that.
All right, a couple more. We'll go to Bobby Blanco, MastinSports.com.
Hey, Joey. Welcome to DC. You mentioned working out with Matt Holliday, and when we talked to Nick Senzel last month, he mentioned the same thing. Did you cross paths with him while working out with Matt Holliday, and what was that experience like?
No, I actually didn't. He went a couple of weeks before I had went, but I do remember Matt saying something about him, saying he was funny and swing looked really good, and that was obviously before I knew I was going to be teammates with him. But yeah, he's been up there a few times, so they got a cool little setup up there, and haven't ran into him yet, but obviously starting to follow guys on Instagram now and message guys and say what's up, and you don't really want to get ahead of yourself, and now that it's official, I can kind of do that. So very excited to be around those groups of guys, and it seems like it's a really good group, and should be fun.
And we'll finish with David Aldridge, The Athletic.
Hey, Joey, welcome to DC, man. You've been the last couple of years on contending teams, and I apologize, I was a couple minutes late, so if you've been asked a variation on this question, I apologize. But just in terms of kind of resetting your own calibrations on a team that's kind of rebuilding and is kind of starting from scratch again, does that change not your approach to every day and how you play, but just kind of the message you give to young players or to the guys on your team, knowing that this group is maybe a couple of years away from being at their very best?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. For me, like I said, it reminds me of that Ranger situation where we have those young guys, and yeah, we might not be contending right now, but there's still very important at bats to be had. There's still very important games to be played, and this is where I think young guys, it's almost nice to get that opportunity to a guy can just go play, and there's really no pressure yet. I thought that's why when I got to Texas, it was an ideal situation because I just got to play, and I got to play a whole season without having to worry about necessarily, oh, we're not winning the World Series this year or whatever. And not to say that I don't think we can. Washington, you never know what's going to happen. Baseball happens all the time. It's crazy. But I think understanding for the younger players is my advice for them would be just focus on development, and make sure you're not getting too caught up in the results every single day. You're more caught up about the development of it, because that's going to take you a lot longer in this game than, if you're just worrying on short-term success. And that's something I need to work on as well. So, I like being able to kind of just work with young guys, and because I know how hard this game is, and I've been through a lot in this game. and I want to be able to help those young guys so they can maybe have advice that they could use when they fall into a tough situation to get themselves out of it.